For the next few weeks, we're going to be examining the miracles of Jesus. One of my personal favorites takes place in the 9th chapter of John, where Jesus heals a man that was born blind. John starts off the story like this. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. "Rabbi," his disciples asked him, "why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sin or his parents' sins?" Now, isn't that a question we all wonder when we encounter people who through no fault of their own have a hardship? Whose sin, whose fault is it? But Jesus replies in verse 3, "It's not because of his sins or his parents' sins," Jesus answered. "This happened so that the power of God could be seen in him." Then Jesus goes and heals the man in a very peculiar way. He basically hocks a loogie in the dirt and makes a mud pie, then wipes it on the man's eyes and sends him off to a specific pool of water to wash his face. And when the man did, he could see. His neighbors and others who knew him as a blind beggar asked each other, "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?" Some said he was. Others said, "Nah, he just looks like him." But the beggar kept saying, "Yes, I am the same one." They asked, "Well, who healed you? What happened?" He told them, "The man they called Jesus made mud and spread it over my eyes and told me, 'Go to the pool of Siloam and wash yourself.' So I went and washed, and now I can see." Then they took the man who'd been blind to the Pharisees. Then the Pharisees again questioned the man who'd been blind and demanded, "What's your opinion about this man who healed you?" The man replied, "I think he must be a prophet." The Jewish leaders still refused to believe that the man had been born blind and could now see, so they called in his parents. They asked them, "Is this your son? Was he the one born blind? If so, how can he see?" Now, his parents go on to say that they don't know how he was healed because they were scared if they told the truth, they'd be expelled from the synagogue. So they basically said, "He's old enough to answer for himself." The Pharisees called the man back in again and asked him the same question, but this time calling Jesus a sinner. To which the guy replies, "I don't know whether he's a sinner or not, but I do know this. I was blind and now I can see." "But what did he do?" they asked. "How did he heal you?" "Look," the man explained, "I told you once. Didn't you listen? Why do you want to hear it again?" "What, do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they cursed him and said, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know God spoke to Moses, but we don't even know where this man comes from." "Why, that's very strange," the man replied. "He healed my eyes, and yet you don't know where he comes from? We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but he's ready to hear those who worship him and do his will." So here's a question that I have for all of us. Do we have a hard time seeing what Jesus is doing in our lives? Are we actually the ones who are still blind? Thanks for joining us today. Join us again next time for another Manna in a Minute.